Sure. So over to you, Santosh. You can start with where are you from, and I would love to know about you.
Yeah. Uh, hey, folks, I'm Santhosh, born and raised in Bangalore, and I have about 14 years of experience in teaching, training people. I've always been this people's person. I've worked with several organizations in teaching them and training them. I also come from teaching background because in the first 9 years in the organization that I worked with youths, teenagers, and university students. And there it was mostly about teaching them, training them, preparing them for the future ahead of them, and even counseling at times, right? So that they would receive and get what they want in the times of crisis, and also find the right therapists and guide people to them. And then I took a break from the job and I joined Teach for India, where I worked as a teaching fellow in a government school for 2 years. I taught English and social science there. That's something that I cherish till the very last breath, because the time that I got to spend with the kids in government school taught me a lot about myself, uh, my character, and even put me on a growth journey, right? So I changed a lot through those 2 years of teaching government school kids. And after that, I worked with another NGO where I taught and also trained teachers. And I was in charge of about 8 government schools, wherein I would visit and see the program being run there, and troubleshoot as and when needed. But I solely gave my energy in teaching and training teachers, and loved spending time with students, getting their feedback about the program, about our teachers and stuffs. So yeah, this is me. And meanwhile, partnering with Tarun and Wonderfly has been an amazing experience for me, because this is something that I love, being around people, uh, playing games with them, playing a lot of icebreakers, engaging them in activities that would drive home a point, and they could take away quite a lot of learnings, even from activities and games, which are meant to be fun, right? So I've worked with Vanderfly, and through Vanderfly, I've trained many people from many organizations, including ITC, WakeFit, and a few other very good companies. And I've learned a lot as I facilitated these sessions with them. So yeah, this is about me and my professional journey. And yeah, I reside in Bangalore. I'm married to an angel whose name is Angel. I have a little angel foreign daughter whose name is Jovita. So yeah, we make our home in Bangalore.
So good. So nice to hear that. Thank you so much, Santosh. It is lovely to hear your journey, and it also brings back memories. I also applied for the Teach for India fellowship.
Ah,
I
good
got
to know that.
it, but because of my dad's health at that time, this is
Hmm.
early 2016, I could not go for the fellowship program. It was in
Oh,
Pune,
oh,
and
sorry. Ha.
I missed an opportunity of a lifetime. And then I never had the
Mhm.
courage to really apply again, because
Yeah.
I gave up on the kids, and yeah, it was a bad experience that I had to give to them, and that's why I was in a guilt for a really
Mhm.
long time. And it
Mhm.
took me like it took me close to 2 years to come out of that guilt. And so I'm also very passionate about teaching, and I've always taught kids in my neighborhood,
Mhm.
of my house help. So yeah, really, really nice to connect with you, Santosh, on these things. So
So happy to hear that. And I'm really sorry that whatever happened to you happened.
yeah,
But yeah, just mesmerized by how you coped up, still continuing to use your gifts and your calling, right, in reaching out and helping others. And let me tell you, I mean, you're in the right place. Wellness in corporate world is the need of the hour,
right.
the way people are hustling these days, and whatever you are doing through Pascare means a lot. Means a lot, not just to the individuals and the corporate companies that you guys are intervening with, but even their children and their family. So truly, would like to appreciate your
Thank you so
dedication
much,
in
Santosh.
this. Yeah,
Really appreciate it. So yeah, if let's do you want to do a quick poll? If you have any polls or any questions, feel free to shout it at that to me and I'll create a quick poll. Or if you have an activity, our attendees can use the chat button to interact with you and with each other. So
absolutely.
yeah.
Yes,
So
yes.
whenever you're ready, I think we're good to go.
I'm ready actually.
Yeah, sure. Then we can begin.
Okay, perfect. Um, yeah. Good afternoon, guys. I really hope that each one of you are doing well and are joining this space with at least some kind of clarity as to what you signed up. And I really hope, I mean, this time of the day, we tend to get a lot more tired, right? But I really hope that each one of us would pull ourselves and enjoy this session. So this evening we'll be looking at how to handle negative feedback, handling negative feedback. I'm pretty sure being born Indian, we all have grown up listening to negative feedback, starting within our own family, especially our parents, right? I'm not talking about 100% of the folks, but yeah, majority of us. And it has truly helped us grow and be what we are today, right? So yeah, in that way, I'm really thankful that we are growing up in an environment where we do get negative feedback often, but also the reason we ought to be studying this or knowing this is majority of us do not know how to actually deal with such feedbacks. Yes, we do get these time and again, often from many people in our lives, right? How do we handle this? This is something that we've not really been thought about. So this is something we'll be looking at this afternoon. And I'm really looking forward to engaging with each one of you. To introduce, I'm Santhosh. I'm a very people-centric facilitator. I've had 14 years of experience in teaching, training, and coaching individuals. Throughout my career, I've also managed various programs and volunteers. I've had the privilege of creating and facilitating various team building activities, icebreakers, and even workshops and seminars like one that we are having now, right? I really love doing this. And as a coach, I've helped numerous individuals navigate through difficult and difficulties in their life and reach very constructive points in their life. Even this particular week, I'm coaching a 20-year-old chap who is going through existential crisis. I've been meeting him regularly and I've been coaching him. So this is something that I'm very passionate about, and at times I volunteer and do sessions like this as often as possible. So yeah, that's about me. And please do turn on your camera if your bandwidth does allow, and participate. Please do participate. I want this to be a dialogue, and I don't want to be just sitting here and blabbering. So I want each one of you to come off mute if possible and participate. And those who are those who are really shy of coming off mute and speaking, please don't mind. Just become a keyboard warrior. Type away all that you'd want to, your questions, even your answers, or something that you would like to share. Please do, please do as much as possible. I would love to read those and acknowledge those as well. Hope you all have got the norms for the session, and we'll move on. Uh, Game time. It's game time. Now, all you have to do.
Yeah, Santosh, I think our participants, because this is a webinar setting, they can see you, they can hear you, but we cannot see them. They cannot switch on their camera and unmute themselves.
Okay.
they can use the chat and the Q&A section to interact with you.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Thanks a lot for telling that.
But we can see you, so we try and imitate what you're doing. If it works, yeah, I think it should work. But you will not be able to see us, so yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, at this moment in time, I really hope that each one of us here would be really honest, right? Because we can't see you through the camera. So, yeah, I would really appreciate everyone who has joined. Just be honest. And it's going to be a game that's going to be really fun. So, I want you all to just get off your chairs and just move around, right? And you'll have to find the most number of items that I'm going to put on the screen from the list. Are you able to see the PPT still?
I can see the PPT, but it still says game time.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And your time starts now. Book and a pen and a brush, earphone, towel, tissue paper, water bottle, perfume, cleaning cloth, spectacle.
Does it count if I'm wearing a spectacle?
It does, it does.
Okay, thanks.
Just make sure you're getting these things in another 50 seconds. 30 more seconds.
We can take a quick raise of hands by people who have already gathered all of this. And then in the chat button, you guys can write how many items you could really get your hands on. I hope you are able to use the chat button. Yeah, found
Oh,
all.
wow. Durga Kranti, kudos to you. 10 more seconds and the countdown begins. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and time's up. Amazing. Yeah. Just go ahead and put the number of things that you found on the chat, please. So we have Sanjana and Durga getting all the 10 items. Great. Jog getting 6. Sureka. Wow, great. 9. Just one less. Oh, honey, 6. And the reason being you're in office. I'm pretty sure if you were at home, you'd have gotten 11 out of 10. Apart from towel, everything. Super. Great. Divya, 8. Great. Sharon, 7. Trupti, 6. Divya, 8. Awesome. Great. Now, would one of you just come off mute? Those who found everything and tell me the reason as to how you were able to find all. Oh, even Mala has found all. Did you do it before the countdown, Mala? Or did you find a couple of them after? Great. Yes. Thanks for responding. Would they be able to come off mute?
No, they
Okay.
use the
Great.
chat. Yeah.
So just tell me this. Those who found everything, were you at home? Awesome. Great, great, great. If we had the video on, it would have been much more harder. I would have told you to not to get off your seat and you'll be running around with your office chair, or you'll be taking your chair and running around. So yeah, good. You did have the privilege of being at home to find all of it. So the people from office get the prize. Um, why not? Absolutely. uh, Great. Yeah, just let me know if you're able to see the screen again.
Yes, Santosh.
Yes, thank you. And the objective for this afternoon session is that we'll be focusing on equipping each one of ourselves with practical tools and strategies to handle feedback constructively. and use it as a catalyst for personal and professional growth. So yeah, we'll be having all the practical tools and strategies to handle what? To handle feedback. What kind of feedback? Positive or negative? Negative feedback, right? And we'll be using negative feedback constructively. We are like the do-it-yourself people, right? The things that many people throw away, telling, "Oh, these are of no use," and are thrown into junk. That's how we throw the negative feedbacks, don't we? We just hear with our right ear and let it out uh, through our left ear. But no, we are not going to do that. We are going to collect all this negative feedback and we are going to use them to constructively build our personal and professional life. That's what we are going to do this afternoon. Now, what is negative feedback? What is negative feedback? Negative feedback is a type of feedback that aims to point out what has gone wrong in an employee's performance, behavior, or actions, right? It's a feedback that aims to point out what has gone wrong in any of our performance, our behavior, or actions. And not just that, it is also here to offer recommendations for improvement, because without these, negative feedback would only discourage us and throw us into deep despondency and depression, right? We all have our self-image built in our mind, and suddenly when someone comes and gives you a negative feedback, destroyed like that, right? So no, with the negative feedback, we'll also consider the recommendation for improvement. We will ask for it. Hope you all got the definition of negative feedback. I'll read it once again for you. Negative feedback is a type of feedback that aims to point out what has gone wrong in any employee's performance, behavior, or actions, and then offer recommendations for improvement. Now, why is it important? Why are negative feedbacks important? Firstly, let us look at through the lens of managerial perspective. It is important tool to increase productivity and efficiency and to engage and support the employees. Manager, the management want the productivity to improve, you better give negative feedback. Why? Because it will enable people to grow, right? It will enable them to become productive. It will bring in them an efficient way and mode of working. And not just that, when there is negative feedback, there is to and fro of suggestions, recommendations, follow up, and all that happening. And through that, we also get to engage with the employees. And this is also one way of supporting our employees. And now, why is it important in the perspective of an employee? Firstly, it gives us an opportunity to learn from our mistakes. We all make mistakes. There's not one person who is born on this earth who's not made a mistake. All of us do, right? And negative feedback actually shows to us, mirrors us the mistakes, and gives us an opportunity to learn from those mistakes. It also increases our performance because we are learning from our mistakes. We are also increasing the performance by working on those mistakes. It helps us in understanding the expectations. Sometimes negative feedback also clearly tells, hey, this is what I have been expecting, and this is what was shared with you as expectation. But there seems to be some misunderstanding about the expectation, or you've not been up to the expectation. So here it is. So it actually helps us to understand the expectation of the work, and then finally offers a plan and resource to improve. If this doesn't happen, I don't think negative feedback would ever be used as a constructive thing to help us, but rather it would be used as a thing to pull us down, right? So anyone who gives negative feedback, especially the managers, the supervisors, the strategies, everyone, right? Even peers, even they can give us feedback, especially negative feedback. If any one of us are giving that, please make sure that we are also giving plans and resources to improve. Hope there's no doubt here. And finally, as a result of all these things, we grow both personally and professionally in every spheres of our life, right? Now, may I request you to visit mentimeter.com on your device and enter this code 4937355. And give me a moment as I present the
Could you tell me the code? I'll just put it in the chat.
one moment. It is 4937355. Sorry, don't put that number. I think it has changed. The
Sure.
page is refreshed. Uh, Let me share the screen for you. There you go. Are you able to see the number?
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, come on, not one, no, five, six, seven.
No, I think people are still logging in and
Yeah, let them. Yes. I'm pretty sure there's not going to be one who is going to tell no. Then, oh, wow, great. Looks like we found the perfectionist. Or this could be the founder or the manager or the CEO. Great. Really appreciate.
but I can't see the results. I can only see have you ever received a negative feedback and people have to still respond to. If you can see it, could you share it? Because I've
I am
been
sharing the whole screen.
okay.
It is also showing the numbers as they increase.
Yeah, it's not showing up on our screen for some reason.
Oh, okay. One moment, I'll share that again.
Yeah, there's a like a presenter screen and like the I think receiver. Yeah, I can see it now.
Perfect. Yeah. Hey, great. Wow. Three of you have never received negative feedback. Perfect. Looks like you're not at the receiving end. You're at the giving end. Perfect. So happy to see that. Great. And 10 seconds, we'll move on. 15 is to 3. Okay, there you go. You can go ahead and start answering the next question. How do you normally feel when someone gives you a negative feedback? Thank you. I'm with you. I'm with you both. I'm with you both. And those who never gotten a negative feedback, just assume that you receive one. How would you feel? Happy and open. Are you guys? Oh, yeah. It should be the ones that said no. Happy and open. Perfect. Great. Two of us feel embarrassed and ashamed. Yeah. Eight of us feel disappointed and sad. And I'm pretty sure that disappointment is with ourselves, right? I mean, I could have done better. I could have pulled it off. Oh, I had the time. I had the opportunity. Yes, we do feel disappointed and sad at times. Yeah. Oh, two of us we disagree or avoid. Yes, many of us have this tendency because it's natural. It's being human, right? We just cannot see through the lens of others, and hence we tend to believe that no, probably what you're thinking is wrong. Happy and open, perfect. Very glad to see few people that are open, really open. Okay, now please don't leave that screen. Come back to the meeting screen or app. Don't come out of Menti. Keep the internet tab open, right? We will come back to it later on. Now, would one or two of you just share a moment when you received a negative feedback and how you reacted? You can put it on chat. It could be one word, it could be a sentence. How did you react? Once, when my manager came up and gave a feedback, I was like, I show the face of being extremely surprised. What? Really? Me? Yes, Joe. Please think and put. So I was surprised. That was my reaction. And when I told I was surprised, it also tells me that, or I learned that I'm immune to self criticism or I'm immune to self reflection. I was surprised of that only because I did not have time to think about it and come to a conclusion that, okay, maybe you are struggling in this area. If had taken time to reflect upon my own work, that particular project, and had some time to reflect, I would have definitely come up with a better response than being surprised, right? Thanks a lot, Job. My response, okay, is it? Let me think. Oh, like that. Okay, got that. Okay. Job responded telling, oh, is it? Let me think. Perfect. So he wants to think, observe, and see if indeed the feedback is true or not. Perfect. And Sureka, I think it also depends upon how the feedback is given. Absolutely. Right. Yeah. If I, as a manager, come upon you with 10 tons of weight, as a pouncing lion, definitely, the response would be different depending upon the personalities of different people. To those who are, uh, to those who have really high self-esteem, you would be like, how dare you treat me like that, right? And if you are really struggling and you are more melancholic person, you'd be like, oh no, you would be downcast, your face would be down, and all that, right? Honey, during yearly performance review, the manager gave me some negative feedback. I felt bad, as well as many things coming in mind, especially negative of people. Absolutely. We tend to think negative about people, right? Even situations that caused us to do what we do. After some time, I think on it and took positive side of it and how I can improve. Absolutely. Thanks a lot, honey, for taking that path, right? Perfect. Perfect. Great. Thank you for sharing. And yes, what this calls us for is a mindset shift. Some of us become very defensive, right? Some of us become downcast. We are upset. We are sad. We are totally dissatisfied with ourselves, right? Disappointed with ourselves and all that. But what do we do about it, right? So we need to change our mindset from what? From defensive to growth oriented. Now, let's look at a couple of points. What are some of the common defensive reactions that people tend to give? First one is fight or flight. Fight it. No, yaar, come on. You don't know me. You don't know the, the circumstance in which I made that mistake. Please don't be too judgmental. You fighting there, right? Or you just fly from there. You take the flight, fight or flight. You just don't want to hear that. You want to stop that conversation there. Oh, is it okay, okay, I'll improve. You don't want to build a constructive conversation on that, right? It's either fight or flight, two of the common defensive reaction. And secondly, you either justify it or you give excuses. Hey, you know what? I did it because, right? It becomes an excuse. And then there are some of us who justify, telling, hey, no, it's not bad at all. Come on. It's worked out for good. Somehow it has worked out, right? The project is done. So that's okay. Justify it, right? And third one, denial or dismissal. You straight out say, no, I won't take this feedback. No, this feedback is wrong, right? We deny the instance, or we deny what we've done. And then there are few who dismiss. So we either deny or we outright dismiss the feedback, just throw it out. And finally, some of us would have emotional meltdown or emotional shutdown. Uh, Especially sensitive people would have this. And if you are an extroverted person and you love being around people, you take a lot of energy when people come and appreciate you, when you are put up in a pedestal and people are speaking highly on you, you derive all your energy. Are extremely happy with that. You would, the moment you hear negative feedback, emotionally down, right? You close yourself. And the next, what are some of the emotional triggers? How do we respond? It's either fear or failure. Some of us fear, right? Some of us, we are afraid of failing. Oh, have I failed? What would happen? Would my review go bad? Would I get a negative mark? Right? So fear of failure is truly a greater trigger that would cause us to shut ourselves down. Sense of identity. Many of us put negative feedback or tie negative feedback with the sense of identity. What does that mean? I believe that I'm a very good presenter, or I'm a very good communicator, right? And when suddenly someone comes up and says, hey, you know what? You need to work on this, and this aspect of your communication. I would be like, what? Are you questioning me, my very nature of job as a facilitator and that? Oh, come on. So many of us have tied our job to our identity, right? And because of that, we are triggered. And some of us might have had some very bad past experiences. Some of us would have received a very bad negative comment, or might have been fired, or some experience that you had in the past just momentarily comes and hits you hard, and you are taken aback. You become all nostalgic, dwelling upon your past, right? Past experiences. And then you think, oh, this is injustice happening to me. I've done all my work perfectly. Manager is coming here with vendetta. He or she is trying to put me down. This is injustice, right? So some of us may think they are playing with us. They are somehow trying to let us down, pull us down, and uh, give us negative markings. So what do? We should not be having any of these responses, reactions, or allow any of this trigger. So what do? We reframe feedback as constructive. These two things that we saw here would really deconstruct our moral stance, our motivation, right? Now let's look at some of the reframed feedback. First, there should be a shift in the perspective. You should not always think about negative feedback as something that has to do with your identity, or it is not personal at the end of the day, right? So shift the perspective. Separate feedback from self-worth. If someone gives you feedback, do not consider that feedback to be shooting your or diminishing your self-worth. Your self-worth doesn't depend upon other people's view or feedback, right? But always rather look at this feedback as something that would help you to grow, right? And become a person who is growing in self-worth. You look at it as an avenue for growing in your self-worth. Focus on opportunity. Don't dwell on the past, right? Focus on the opportunity that this feedback is posing. Ask for questions, ask for ideas and things, right? So look at the opportunity. Practice active listening. Some of us are listening only to answer, to justify, to give reasons. We would even shortcut them from finishing what they would want to say, and then interrupt and say, hey, no, no, I did that because of this. No, that's why we ought to practice active listening. As one thing about active listening is, whenever someone is giving feedback, just type down or just keep jotting down what you are listening, so that it would give you good listening ears. And then writing it down would also enable you to ask right questions for your growth. And finally, ask for specifics and support. If someone comes and gives you a negative feedback, get into specific. Oh, is it? When did this happen? Last Thursday during that meeting. Oh, okay. Can you cite the exact conversation that we had that made you think like this, or the words that I used? Oh, okay, okay. Now you tell me, how can I actually work on it? Because I do tend to become very uh, defensive person in such scenario. How can I grow in this aspect? Can you really help me with this regard? Right. So these are some of the questions that you can ask. So at the end of the day, these two things, the common defensive reaction and some of the emotional triggers, these are all natural to human beings. It's part and parcel of us, right? It's the very innate proclivity of each one of us. That's in our nature. But the things on the right are things that you actually work on to make it your second nature, right? So these are the things that you really need to put a lot of time and effort, and even set goal if need be. Without that, there will definitely never be a change in the perspective. If you need to shift the perspective, then you really need to work intentionally on these aspects. Any doubts thus far, you can go on chat and put your doubts. If there is none, just put no, so that I can go ahead with the presentation. If you guys are taking this long, I think there's some question coming. So is that a no? Okay, I'll count five, five, four, three, two, one. Thank you. Okay. So here are the three-step method to manage emotion before responding. One of the major problem we have whenever we respond to any of the negative feedback is we do not pause, right? So how do we actually respond to negative feedback? Here you go. Pause. Ask for a minute or two or a day if need be, right? As Joe told, oh, is it? Let me think. Very good response, because you are actively not agreeing or denying the negative feedback, but rather you are pausing there and are asking yourself, right? You're pausing. Pause. Reflect. What went wrong? What went wrong? What made them think this way? Also give them the benefit of doubt. Oh, they could be right. So what could have gone wrong with the way I communicated, right? So reflect. And finally, after you pause and have reflected, then respond, right? And this response, let me tell you, would be the most professional response, would be the most growth inviting response. Otherwise, if we are shooting the gun and are responding immediately, depending upon our intuition, right, we would really have very bad repercussion, right? So always pause, always reflect, and then respond. Don't or never ever forget these three steps to manage your emotions, because our emotions can easily overflow, right? And then the overflow could be through our facial expression, through our body language, through the words that we would utter. And hence, to keep a tap on your emotion, you need to take a break, pause, reflect, and only then respond. When you respond in this manner, it's always without any emotions. You are objective in the way you think, and you want the things to go. Now, answer the next question on Mentimeter. Here I am sharing. Oh, there you go. What do you find hardest when receiving negative feedback? What do you find the hardest when receiving negative feedback? Staying calm, listening without defending, evaluating objectively. It's not about whether I'm wrong or right. I'm just looking at that incident or that feedback objectively, planning improvement. Wow, wow. Some of us are really struggling to stay calm, right? We need to take a pause. Listening without defending. Yeah, we struggle to listen without defending because I told you it's our nature to defend ourselves, right? Good in a way, but definitely not when it comes to negative feedback. You are being judged also. Evaluating objectively, yes, we are very subjective when it comes to negative feedback. We assume things, we assume even the intention of the feedback giver. Perfect. Listening without defending is taking some mileage. Wow. Oh, great. Planning improvement. Wow. Running ahead. Slow but steady. Perfect. What do we find the hardest when receiving negative feedback? Staying calm, listening without defending. Oh, listening without defending is catching up. Looks like a running race. At this moment, I think we are all struggling with our follow-up. How to improve on the negative feedback, right? I think all four options are within three, between 3 to 4. Great. Thank you. Thank you. Now, some of us told we struggle to stay calm. Some of us told that we struggle in looking at the feedback objectively, right? And some of us told, oh, I do not know how to, at that moment, think about improvement, growth, right? So, to help you with that, let's look at the framework for handling negative feedback. What are some of the ways that you and I can actually use negative feedback constructively? So we have something called as step analysis. Step analysis. What does step analysis mean? Step, first one, always stay calm. Please stay calm. And staying calm also means you assume good faith and have good faith in the person that is giving you the feedback. Always give them the benefit of doubt. Don't think, oh, that person want to let me down, put me under bad light. That is why he or she is doing this. But no, for a moment, just stay calm and think, oh, what if it is true? What if the person is not really meaning any harm, but rather is helping me to look at this as a constructive thing, right? None of us would actually scold a person who looks at our face and says, hey, hey, there's some mark here, just push it off. We all want to look good, no? So there is some mark, or you've eaten and there's some morsel that's just sticking around, and someone comes and asks you to do this, you'd be like, wow, in good faith, you would do that. And at the end, you'd be thankful to them, right? So always assume good faith. Even if, even if the person is doing this in bad faith to let you down, put you under bad light, please remember that intention doesn't stop you from taking it as a catalyst for growth and improving, right? So, yeah, no one would come to you, find your best attribute and say that's your bad attribute. No one would do. They would always find the wrong in you and then point it out, even if they have bad faith. So, always stay calm, right? And then thank the giver first and foremost, uh, to really build a good conversation around this negative feedback is always to thank the giver, because you're building a bond there, right? You are trying not just to listen to it and either accept it or deny it, but rather you are starting the conversation by thanking them. Thanking them for what? For finding something in you that would actually help you grow, right? So you're receiving the feedback because the giver is always invested in your career, especially your manager, right? Your supervisor, or even your peer with whom you're working in the team. They're all invested in your career. They want to see this project become the best, and they want to see you also grow in and through this project. So, first and foremost, start with gratitude. Stay calm and then thank the giver because you are assuming good faith. And then, third, evaluate the feedback. STEP. E for evaluating the feedback. Take time to understand the feedback. Look at it objectively, right? And then ask specific questions, as I mentioned before. Oh, is it? When did you find it? What words did I exactly tell that offended you? Or what communication or what email do you think lost us that client? Right? Ask for specific points, right? Even about behavior. How did I behave? How was my body language when I did that, or when I did something that put me in bad light, right? Evaluate the feedback. And when you're evaluating, not just you're asking question to yourself, you're also asking question to the one that is giving you the feedback. And always be very specific. Was it on that day, or on which day, during which meeting, during which call, which process, right? Ask these questions so that you would be in a mental stage to look at it objectively and come to an understanding about what it truly is and how you can benefit from it. And finally, many of us told, right, we utterly fail even if we do the first three: staying calm, thanking the giver, and evaluating the feedback. I'm pretty sure those 3 people to 4 people who've not really gotten any negative feedback, they are doing all of these things, or they would do all of these 3 things. And they would also take the fourth step, that is planning for improvement. Why? Because they are perfectionists. Perfectionists, or even those who are diligent in their work and would always want to give their best, right, to the team, for themselves, right? They would always sit down and plan. I think all of us who are struggling also should follow or learn or get inspired by such people. We would never be perfectionists, right? But can we put certain checks and balances, certain things that would actually enable us to plan and improve? Otherwise, we would get stuck in the very first process, right? There is no need for us to even take the first process, that is to stay calm and then tag the giver, evaluate, and then plan. We can outright take it or deny it, right? So always plan. Plans can keep you on track, and your manager can help you refine it and achieve it. And even as a manager, when you are giving the feedback, give the specifics and then ask the feedback taker to go back and come back with a plan, and then refine it, give feedback. And if they are not in a position, help them by giving them a plan, giving them a timeline, and also see how you can actually have certain measures to follow up and measure it, right? So, step always stay calm, always thank the giver, always evaluate the feedback, and finally, always plan for improvement. Let's look at some of the real life scenarios. After a team meeting, you receive feedback that you tend to dominate discussions and leave little room for others to share ideas. Many of us tend to be this, right? Especially extroverts, especially those who get ideas like this, because our mind is always churning out, because we are the best of people, right? In our org. That's why they've chosen us. That's why we are in that very important meeting. So, what do? We dominate the discussion. Hey, no, yaar, this is what I believe. And we leave no room for others to actually share their ideas. So, how do we respond? What do? If I would receive this feedback, this is how I would respond. I would apply active listening by seeking specific examples as to when it happened, and ask my manager and my colleagues how I can better facilitate the discussion. Instead of using my extrovert skills to portray myself up there, how can I use it to actually bring out the best in others? This is something that we can actually do. Your project manager mentions that your recent work lacked creativity. Someone comes to you and tells, hey, you're not creative. Instead of getting defensive, practice managing your emotions by acknowledging their feedback and seeking clarification on which areas they felt lack in innovation, right? And then propose a new idea for an upcoming project to demonstrate your willingness to improve. So always manage your emotion, because the moment they speak about your creativity, you get off. Your emotion goes haywire. But don't let that. But rather ask, where can I be more innovative? In which area? In which process? And then when you are planning the next process, go and ask, can I work on this aspect? This shows you're able to follow up. You're also having the willingness to improve. Now, how would you respond when someone says your knowledge of our products and services is very bad? How would you respond? Would any of you come off mute and, oh, sorry, yeah, we don't have that. Would any one of you put it on the chat? How would you respond? Hey man, your knowledge of all our products and services is very bad. What would you do? Hey, how dare you, man? If it was a peer, right? Oh, I know better than you. Or you'd say, sorry, sir, that particular day, somehow, because I was caught in traffic, I couldn't come back and go through the catalog, right? We become defensive, we give excuses. How should we respond? We should, I will say, please list and let me know. Oh, okay. The same answer, Joe. I would like to ask them on what aspects my knowledge is. Very good. Yes. What aspect? Which product? Which services are you particularly talking about? Then you can think about it objectively. Very good. Thank you. Ask on the specifics. Thank you, Zakir. Absolutely. When did this happen? Which meeting? Which client? Right? Can you please elaborate more and suggest what I can do better to improve this? Perfect. Do you have a presentation, or do you have anything ready or ready reckoner, so that I can consider visiting often to better my understanding about the project or product or services? Yeah, that's another thing we can do. Ask on the specific. Perfect. How would you respond when someone tells you tend to make promises we can't keep? This happens within team, right? As peers, one person you have who is always working, like he's a workaholic. He would want to do great and mighty things, and ends up giving promises to clients that we can't keep. What do you do? How do you respond? Can you let me know about such a promise that I made? Absolutely. Very good. Thank you, Ayush. Which promises are you talking about? Are you really sure that we won't be able to keep that promise? Again, feedback for them to think about. As a team, can we sit together and discuss about how far we can go when promising the clients? I've always heard my manager tell this: don't give greater promises, because when you give greater promises and fall short, you'll put down your face. But rather, set the expectations low and overachieve. And in that case, you would actually make them very happy. Jog, I never promise. I committed some date and revised date with reason for affecting the sale. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. You're always late in turning your reports in. How would you respond? Some of us who put our work to the very uh, end of the deadline, right? To the 11th hour. When someone comes and tells us this, how would you respond? I think I know if I'm late. I would really work on this if it's coming from my manager. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for telling that. You will really know if you were late, right? All of us do know. So there is not much questions at specific questions that we can ask here. But yeah, this does come as a real feedback for which we can promise improvement, right? No one would come and tell you without reason that you are turning in your reports very late. Thank you. Thanks for telling that. Most probably the time given was limited. Next time we shall take care of it. Thank you. Thank you, Joe. Perfect. Amazing. Now, if you were to give feedback on this aspect, how would you give? Negative feedback. I remember my supervisor calling me once, setting up a meeting, and then he appreciated me so much that I felt like flying. I felt so happy. And then towards the end, he told, however, have few things where I think you can improve. And then he noted down 3 points and he sent it across on my phone. And he told, I'm sending this across not so that we would have a conversation on those things now, because we might end up discussing, debating, or even becoming, uh, uh, to becoming too conversational about it, right? So rather go back, think about this, and send me back certain things that you would like to work on, right? Or if you have any doubts, that really helped me. So when you praise someone and appreciate them for certain good traits of them, and then tell them that their product knowledge is not up to the mark, then they would take it as a challenge. And there is always this positive uh, impact that would push them to improve on these aspects, right? You tend to make promises we can't keep. Hey, from next time, why don't you actually discuss with the team and then promise, right? So, in that way, we would all be in the loop. We would know what we are signing up for, and we can also plan things accordingly. So, please do keep all of us in the loop when you tend to make promises. That would be really helpful, right? And you're always late in turning your reports in. So this, I think you'll have to do gradually. One and two would be responses or feedback that would positively ask them to work on, right? And then the third one, you can literally call them up and say, hey, we have already spoken about this. Is there any support that you need from me? Because this is the third time. And if you need any support, I'm willing to support you in this regard. Maybe checking with you a week before or a day before, right? The reports, so that you can actually take it up. So there are ways of giving feedback on this aspect. Now, at the end, why do we need negative feedback? What is its role in our career, in our workplace? The psychology behind receiving feedback involves overcoming initial emotional reactions and defensive tendencies. All right. We've looked enough about it. For you to receive feedback in a very constructive way, you'll have to throw out of the window your emotional baggages, your emotional reactions, and your defensive tendencies. Be calm. and then try to understand these triggers, and then start working on the feedback. And for that, you will definitely need a shift in the uh, perspective, right? At the end, you always know that all of these feedbacks is for your good and for my good. And it will also develop a healthier relationship with criticism. And then you will use that as a fuel for your personal and professional growth. Perfect. Thank you, Zakir. I didn't acknowledge your response, but thanks a lot. Yeah. Provide them with alternate options, training materials, sessions. Exactly. Yes. Perfect. Now, anything else?
Yeah, I think we're just on time. And
Yes.
it has been a very interactive um, session. So yeah, thanks for the session today. Learned a lot. Yes, this was very relatable topic, and I'm sure people who attended also related a lot with this topic. And it's nice to know everybody's perspective on how they
Absolutely. Yeah.
handle things, and that itself is a learning for
Hmm.
all of us. So I hope you guys also learned from each other today, and obviously more from Santosh. So Santosh, thank you so much for collating all of
Thanks a
this,
lot.
bringing us all together, and like facilitating this. This was very helpful. 60 minutes of absolute interaction, and really enjoy this is my favorite part of the job actually. So yeah, thanks
Mhm.
again. And yeah, we'll see you next time, hopefully. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Keep
the
it as guys.
recordings can be found on the Past Cares YouTube page. I'll quickly share the link. We usually put the videos up on the following Monday. So by Monday, you'll see this video up on YouTube on our channel. And yeah, thank you. Thanks so much. And please follow our channel on YouTube, and you can also view the previous sessions there.
Yeah. There's a question, if you'd mind.
Yeah, let's take that. Yeah,
Yeah,
please.
yeah. Because my manager is more of a speaker, I am mostly unheard of. How can I make him or her listen? Um, Most of the managers tend to become that. They are not that, right? They are making themselves to become that, because they have so many deadlines, have so many people to take care of. I think the best thing that we can do is set up a time or ask for a slot, maybe just 5 minutes to interact with them, right? You can say that, I need your support regarding a thing or two. Would you really I would really appreciate if you give me a slot. And let me tell you, most of the managers would really be happy to help, because most of them do not get to uh, hear from their people, from their team, as to uh, needing some help and all, right? Many managers do not have people who would come to them seeking help. So if at all anyone does that, right, they would be extremely happy. And there you can actually open up and say, I am this kind of a personality, and I also like conversing with you, and I would like to speak, vent out certain things, or even share my struggles at workplace if needed. So would you really give me that slot, or that uh, opportunity and freedom to come and speak with you? That would really help. And I, in my previous organization, would send out an anonymous feedback sheet as a manager, so that the people that I'm training would actually give me feedback anonymously. So that would actually help. If that helps managers, that would also be a great help, because ultimately we also look at 360-degree feedback as a very good tool that also can be considered. Thank you. And yeah, I really hope and wish that each one of you would uh, really love what you're doing, and grow in the avenue, the platform where you are placed. All the best.
Thank you, Santosh. All the best to you too.